Gen Con is coming. What are the games I have on my radar? Okay, disclaimer at the beginning of the video here. I am not telling you you need to buy these games for Gen Con. I am not telling you that these are the must-have games of Gen Con. I may have made a clickbait title to make you think that, but at the same time, as always with my channel, practice a little restraint. These are going to be the games that are going to be on people's radars. These are going to be the games that are going to get the shoutouts. These are the games that people are going to pay gadzooks amount extra for to get it sooner so they can be the ones to say that they have it. But are they going to be the ones that stay the test of time? Don't go any further back than last year's Essen. What was the best game out of Essen? Now, the best game out of Essen then probably isn't even in half the people's collections that bought it. The best game out of Essen last year was one of the 60th ranked games in terms of popularity when Essen ended on the hotness hype cycle of things. What is it now? Well, it freaking just won the Spiel in the form of Bomb Busters. So, again, some of the dark horses, and I will run you through the leaders and the dark horses and everything in between so that you can say to your friends later, Liege told me about this one. You should go watch his channel. He's pretty freaking stupid, but occasionally he gets things right. Let's go. So with an intro like that for myself, where do we start? And you know what? Let's start with some of the big ones. Let's start with some of the big ones that are going to be at Gen Con. Now, all of this is subject to change with tariffs, with transportation, with all of this stuff. But at least I've seen either on the Gen Con preview list will be playable or will be somewhat limited release, and you can pay 20 to 30% more for it in that way. Okay, you know what? Screw it. Let's just start with Vantage. Vantage, Stonemaier. It is being shouted from the rooftops at the time of me filming this. Stonemaier champions are getting their copies, and they're loving it. I don't know, but what I've heard is it's an experience more than a game, necessarily. And yeah, it's a game. It's a game. I'm not saying it's not a game. But I think, like I've said in other videos, talking about it briefly in passing, it's more of an open world, choose your own adventure style of things in an activity sense, sort of like Lands of Galzier in that way. And I don't say that as a negative. I say that as a, this is sort of what it is. And I also have said repeatedly that I feel like with some situations, uniqueness also gets extra points in our hobby, just like it does on video game side of things, but even especially the movie media side of things, where you have these reviewers giving these super high ratings to movies because they're unique and they have a different spin on things, and it's something they haven't seen 37 times. And so it kind of gives me those vibes as well. But the main point being here is Lands of Galzier, Seventh Continent sort of style of game for you? Because now you can pay just as much as you would with one of those for this one at the time of whenever it's getting released, because I think that's almost what it's going for. So that is the main question. Again, not is it a good game, but, you know, is it going to be right for you? And truth be told, like, I'm not one of those people that has review copy, so I can't give you any hands-on experience. Maybe someday I'll have a copy to be able to talk about, but that's not right now. So I can only go off of what is said, what is known, and what is getting put out there as well, with a little bit of my interpretation, spin, whatever you want to say, negativity, as I'm always told. So off of that subject, let's talk about the other one that I will have a copy of, maybe even before Gen Con, Unmatched Legends Volume 3. Yeah, I pre-ordered it. Yep, I did it. I shouldn't do it. But I love the 4-character combo with the 2 boards that this is offering. I think this is going to be, for me personally speaking, the most interesting of the Legends boxes. And I think it's just giving me something crazy unique, especially as the player-made runner-up competition now put in a physical format. Because I think sometimes companies want to stay a little bit safe in some of these, right? Don't make it too crazy, people won't like it. Don't make it too out of the box, people won't like it, right? As I was just saying with familiarity. Familiarity breeds, well, I like it more. And so if you are more avant-garde or out there, it's high risk, high reward. And for me, this is exactly what I look for. I look for the crazy complexity, weird stuff in things like Dice Throne or Bullet. That is my vibe. And so I'm hoping that this has more of that in that line. And it's going to eventually help me also feel a little bit better about trading for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles when it comes out as well, so I can have that, the Witchers, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and just create this horribly weird looking team battle with my kids when we play it. So that is out there. Then the other one that is being slowly trickled out on review copies at the time of me filming this in the middle of July, 2/3 of the way through July here, is Star Wars Battle of Hoth, the Memoir 44 reskin, if you will. I saw a couple people already have review copies, and so probably by the time you're filming this, there will be early impressions, reviews, and even gameplay put out there, and I guarantee this will be one of the hottest properties at Gen Con. The question is, for people like myself, who are not big war gamers, style of things, Memoir 44, or who have no inkling of interest in the World War II vibe for the most part, I'm not going to say never, it's just not something that attracts me. Am I against it? No. But if it's just the thematic incorporation of it in general, it's not going to be the thing that wins me to try it out, I guess is what I'm saying. This is going to be all that and taco smell, like my 4-year-old says. So is it going to be what people want? Is it going to be Star Warsy enough? Is it going to be unique enough? Is it going to be stand apart enough from Memoir 44? Is it going to have enough scenarios? Not enough scenarios. Let me finish that sentence. Is it going to have enough scenarios that are varied enough in the content? Because that's the criticism with some games like this, right? You don't like Marvel United because it's the same thing going around in a circle again. You don't like Deep Rock Galactic because it's the same rinse and repeat, just with slightly different enemies, right? You want different situations. I look at Sail Legacy, which is sitting behind the camera right now at the time of me filming this. The scenarios are completely different in what you're trying to accomplish, even though it's utilizing the same mechanisms. How varied can you do, or how varied can you do on Hoth in that way? Right? The only thing that really surprises me is that it's just Hoth, which also is going to lead to the eventual Tatooine, or Tatooine, as my wife says. We've been reading Star Wars books for years. She's seen the movies. It's Tatooine, honey. I love you so much. Tatooine. Oh my gosh, it drives me crazy every time. And we've been married long enough that I don't even correct her anymore because I know what that is. That's bait. That's bait. So, there's going to be more. Coruscant, universe, galaxy, whatever it is, right? Or expansions with vehicles or character, whatever it may be. I want to see what they can do because it's ripe for that. But that's going to be more of my question right now. Just like when I was talking previously about the one that used to sit right there behind me of Fellowship of the Ring trick taking. It's titled that, not Lord of the Rings, because there will be a Two Towers and Return of the King eventually at some point, just like this. The other one I really think is going to be obviously making waves, and I just don't know what to make of as well with their previous foray into the tile laying that I don't think was as well received as the initial hype led us to in Tiled Wild West, is now Lightning Train. Bag building Ticket to Ride on rails. And so what unique spin are they going to give us from Direwolf? I think this also has one of the highest ceilings of an underrated, less complex family, but also gamer group style game of the whole year of 2025. I would be lying to you if I said to you that I don't want to try this out. But I can't tell if it's going to be a Tile Wild West or Dune Imperium. And so that's the question right now. I think the potential for this is massive, more than almost potentially anything else on this list. But if I can't tell, what do I usually say? I say wait. So that's going to be the question with a lot of these is how willing to wait are you going to be? Speaking of that, Gen Con, oh look, Ace of Spades right there. Balatro, the card game. It's got not enough Joker, not enough variability in some of the powers that you're going to be getting to mitigate the luck drawing of a poker situation in the first place. It's still an outstanding game. It's a really fun game. And if you're looking for a very hard solo tough challenge and trying to mitigate as much as possible, but still having a significant luck element of the shuffle up and see what happens poker situation, I'd say it's going to be on a significant portion of solo gamers' top lists of the year from that aspect, if that is your vibe at all. And I can say that having played it now many a time. So I have to put that out there just since I have a copy in addition. The other one that is kind of all over the place for me at this point is Cascadia Alpine Lakes. What do you make of a new Cascadia game? And I mean that in the sense that I just filmed earlier this week, prior to me filming this, my review of June. And I said, sometimes it's a great thing when you have these properties like Machina Arcana and Isofarian Guard and Paperback Adventures and those sorts of things that you're going back to, Black Rose Wars, that that you love. And sometimes it's good to have something that you love because it's going to be, or at what point also does it turn from that to my Aeon's End situation where I am either milked out or just oversaturated? And what is that going to be in terms of Cascadia Alpine Lakes? Because it's a standalone follow-up, which I'm fine with. Unique scoring objectives with species. Okay, we've seen that over 3 habitats. Okay. How well surrounded things are. Unique scoring conditions for spatial challenging. Okay, this is similar, but it makes me wonder, are you going to just say one or the other, right? I don't think that's happened as much with, say, something like Cascadia and Harmonies. I think you have people that like them both, like myself, but I think you also have a fair number that go one or the other in some of these cases. And you're still choosing a tile and a pair of wildlife tokens together to expand, but this time they're double and they can be stacked, right? I'd say it's almost too similar and not different enough. New stacking adjacency challenges, but we've seen that with like Rome in a Day as well, and a few of those style of games where they've done something similar. So where is this one going to end up? Is it going to be an Azul situation? I mean, that's what it gives me the closest vibes of as well. Then, speaking of similar properties, we'll just stay with that theme and we'll say Compile Main 2. Compile Main 2, picked up by Synopsis Games, we'll go with that. Mispronunciation of my syllables and wrong emphasis again. Is going to be more of Compile. It's going to be more of Compile. More craziness. Hopefully, much less freaking rules ambiguity, right? There's nothing that drives me crazier when they try and say, okay, we're going to make this in a very small, cute package. But then you skimp on the rules because you're trying to make the rule book fit in the box and not have it be... There are so many edge cases in Compile that I would love to see them iron some of that out, especially if you're going to say and allow me to mix it with number 1. It's a fantastic game. It's not going anywhere in my collection. I love it. But I hate having to think about some of those edge cases about what does when and how does this... that it makes it a little bit of a harder barrier to entry and want to desire to get out as frequently. And if you're going to give me more of that, we'll see, right? Is it going to be more like Oriflamme, which we just taught my kids how to play this past week? Love Oriflamme. Have Oriflamme Ablaze too, though. And ultimately, am I going to choose one or the other? Am I going to try and mix match it? Or am I just going to say screw it and just chuck one out at some point and just be good with it too? Because sometimes just more is a problem in that regard as well. Okay, you want some sleeper hits? I'll give you some sleeper hits. Number 1, Tag Team from Scorpion Mosque. Head-to-head tactical battler, 2 players. But get this, it's a little bit of deck building, and this is going to be the divisive part, it's an auto battler, meaning you just play your cards, war style. But the deck building aspect makes it really unique because you're going to be choosing from 2 different characters that you can pull from, and your opponents can be doing the same thing for 2 opposite characters that they choose at the beginning of the battle as well. And so how you and where you slot those cards is going to be super intriguing to me. And so for a 10-minute game, I think this hits the perfect sweet spot. Is it going to be as good as I hope? I don't know, but I'm willing to go out on a limb and say I hope so. The other one is an under the radar, may not hear it elsewhere. Pandasaurus is releasing Beasts. It is in the line of the game where you are going up building number piles. Tell me if you've heard this before. Limited communication, cooperative. But you have a series of 3 digits and you're transforming them, covering them one at a time. So you play all your cards of a single suit on one turn and you create a number that's higher than the last. But the beast cards, once they show up, they start restricting how you're going to be able to play above these areas, and you want to be able to lure them away so that they don't get in your way of your planning. So as someone who loves the game, as someone who looks at the game and says, really, people are rating this in the 6s, I love it. This is going to be a similar but different vibe. Play it with my kids, play it with my game group, introduce it to anyone. 2 to 5 players in under half an hour. You know what? It's going to be for me. It might not be for you. It's probably not going to win any awards. It's probably not going to be on people's best list, But you know what friggin' matters to me as well? Getting this played, if it's as good as it sounds like for me personally. Fillers with names you know, designing them? Yeah, let's talk about 2 of those for a quick second. The 4 Doors and Fight 5 number-based situations. The 4 Doors is by Leacock, you may have heard of him, Pinchback and Riddle. The folks from Detroit, you know, Motor Cities, Three Sisters, River Valley Glassworks, French Quarter, those sorts of things. So the 4 Doors, essentially you've got 4 doors lined up vertically. You're splaying out cards on either side of them. You need to traverse from door to door using special actions to grab relics from underneath it. Now, if you've heard this before with a pandemic style of getting the cure with Iberia, you're having to play 4 cards of equal, well, matching door to get the relic that is behind each of these doors in order to win. Get 4 cards, if I'm interpreting this correctly, on both sides of the door, though. As you're splaying them out, the shadows are creeping out. You have ways to discard those cards by matching, but if that happens, you lose. That relic is closed off to you. Now, that's from the trio of designers that you know. Speaking of a couple designers you also know, Maddie Tremblay and Aaron Hine over at Neon Night Games. We're getting Fight 5, which is a spin-off of, kind of like a Flip 7-esque variety, only a war spin rather than a pressure like blackjack. And what you're essentially doing, and I'm not sure how you're going to be able to do this with up to 5 people, but you're going to be playing cards to 5 different piles, war style, trying to get the most of them over 5 rounds. But apparently, well, Star Clash cards are a thing too. Win Clash, take cards for endgame scoring. Tie, it only grows bigger for next time. I think both of these have light filler and me potentially written all over it. Not sure what to make of this one, though. 1 to 5 players, again, 30 minutes or less, as a different, very different engine build style called Inkwell, where there is a common central tableau playmat that you can take resources from that come in a couple different ways: colored ink cubes, gold leaf, and technique cards with special powers. And you're going to be filling out your own manuscript pages with these required resources. However, you have the option at any point to also flip your codex to the next page. And this is where the engine build comes in, because based off of what you've completed on that previous page adds to your abilities and your learned skills going for the next page. And you potentially have more of an ability to pick what that next page is. However, if you screw it up, though, the abbot, right, may force you to move forward before you're finished. Strategic, tactical, a little bit of everything thrown in with some historical manuscript style gameplay. Then we're talking about Scream from the previous Scram version. Bezier is bringing us another golf-styled hand-shedding game where you yell Scream when you have the lowest score, where you're either just drawing a card, playing a card, or exchanging cards from your hand. So how different is this going to be than the predecessor, Scram, and the Silver series that we have as well from them? Going off of a Necronomicon-style animated artwork, well, we'll see. Not my type of game, but Economy's got a little bit of comic flair now, and we're talking about Bagged and Boarded as you go back to your youth and childhood to compete to build the most valuable comic collection. You're doing your allowance, you're doing your chores, and you're trying to get all the comic books, but do you sell the expensive ones to fund others, or do you put them on display, banking points for the end of the game, while increasing the series value for everybody else? Drafting, melding, as well as action planning, because you lay out your plan for that day and then you go. Now, apparently though, this one will not be released at the convention, but will maybe be demoed there because it's coming to crowdfunding maybe later this year from Octoraph Games. I have no idea what to make of this one either, but Last Lantern at least has my eye from Wonderful World Board Games. The folks who have done Castle Raisers and Lone Wolves, both of which I've talked about recently on the channel. I'll have a review coming out for Castle Raisers in the near future. 2 to 4 player cooperative polyomino set collection with the bag building element. Now you're going to be puzzling your way forward, trying to make it to the lantern, trying to stave off the spirits that are, well, isolating it and putting fog out there in the first place. 7 to 9 rounds, no communication, 1 set of tiles and tokens chosen. Placed in the path before you, move closer to your goal, and gain 3 different tokens that activate different abilities. It's cooperative. Communication by analyzing the board state and what's available, giving you a different dynamic. This one from Wonderful World Board Games is one to watch out for, based on that description at least. Well, truth be told, we'll find out later. What the deuce is a Satchel Quest? Well, Weird City Games is about to tell us with a little bit of Vincent Dutrait art as you puzzle bag build into a roguelike style dungeon crawl with naught but your wits and trusty satchel. I mean, you're taking on adventurers going into the dungeons trying to claim victory. No other details, but coming to crowdfunding soon. Show me, Weird City. What do you got in store for us? And I would be amiss if I didn't mention the one sitting out on my table currently as I film this. General Orders Sengoku Jidai. This is the latest from Osprey, from Benjamin and Thompson. You know their names. And is a follow-up to the previous General Orders as you take on the role of a daimyo trying to control land, sea, as well as the supply lines, trying to be the last one standing through the use of your action placement resource system. Is it going to be as good as the previous? Is it going to be better as a worker placement war game in 30 minutes or less? Well, I'll let you know very soon. And staying with cities and a little bit of building along with it. Not that you're really doing that in General Orders, it's more of a conquering game, but there's a city in it. We're talking Guildlands, a city building tile laying game with asymmetric powers that are guild dependent. Tricky part here is that you're going to be playing to a central area where you have potentially up to 2 turns on an action that you are going to be utilizing. 1, take a tile and add it. Very simple, very straightforward. Do you risk the top down one that you can't see what it is, or you take one from the general supply? High risk, high reward. Or as your second action, do you rotate one of the ones that's on the outer edge in order to give your specific configuration needs a little bit of a boost? Now, you have asymmetric unique abilities that each guild is going to be having, like I mentioned, that you can use once per turn. However, the interesting portion of things is that you can also spend gold in order to play more actions or tiles on your turn. However, at the cost of victory points, because gold equals the victory that you need at the end as well. Going to be interesting, and we're going to see a little bit of what Outset Media has in store for us. Then Dragonarium, drafting and resource management to hatch dragonlings while you're drafting tiles of 1 or 2 land types, placing it on your own specific section, and then choosing the type that you just played to activate the elemental tokens associated with it circling the board. As it passes by these rows and columns, the token provides energy needed to hatch them on the placed tiles. Once it's ready to hatch, though, you place the tile on top, releasing it, and the land where the dragon nests, though, allows you to connect further and further as you're going along. Spatial puzzle, a little bit of abstract with a thematic incorporation. Show me what you got. Madigo and Scott Alms now are bringing us Peak Team, coordinating rangers to safeguard animals in a wildlife park. 1 to 5 rangers, cooperative, task-based oriented region system with a reverse drafting mechanic. Certain number of actions where you're actually allocating cards to other people's action-based system to give them the tools that they're going to need to complete their individual quests, filling up the slots that they have available. A tiered level system that they say is going to give increased difficulty and complexity as you progress. Accessibility, challenge, all along the way. I'm intrigued to see what this one actually has in store. It's just looking kind of like a cool concept as someone who adamantly loves the cooperative side of things. Then Thunderworks is bringing us a very interesting spin on the deck building, or should I say flip of the deck building, because we're talking Fliptoons, their latest upcoming release. And what you're essentially doing is creating a 3x2 grid of these cards that you flip out, 6 on a turn, that have different activations and powers that's going to be combo-gistic and synergy-wise all across everything you'd expect. The interesting aspect of this is as you're combo chaining, you're scoring the total amount of points that your 6 grid-based cards get. That is actually subsequently used to buy more cards. However, you can also use those points to get rid of cards to winnow the deck building aspect of things. The game goes until someone gets the right lucky combination of 6 cards that gets 30 points, which triggers one final round. And this is the divisive thing, and I can see people not liking this. Then in that last round, whoever scores the most points wins. Okay, so that is what it is. But I like the concept, and I kind of like the artwork as well. Speaking of concept and artwork, okay, I like the concept. Not sure how I feel about the art. Doesn't really matter to me because we're talking about The Witcher. And we're talking meta in-game Witcher because we're going to actually Gwent, the in-game card game from the Witcher series. And this is getting a redone version on the tabletop as a faction-based head-to-head dueling style game. You've got your, well, it says at least here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different factions that you're going to be utilizing the abilities and the sets of in order to beat your opponent best 2 out of 3. Now, this is maneuvering, bluffing, and deploying units with special abilities, playing over the 3-round basis, like I mentioned, in order to outdo your opponent. I'm really looking forward to this one. I have mixed feelings because I see comments on both sides of the board. People that are saying you can't actually do Gwent the way it should be done. You need to do it like this fan-made custom service one was done from years ago if you're going to do this. This just can't. At the same time, the people that have play tested it so far actually kind of like it. So apart from the 1s and 3s that are review bombing it currently that haven't played it, and the 10s that also haven't played it and are rating it only from The Witcher, I have no idea how good it's going to be! But I think this one has an incredibly high ceiling of the type of game that I love in a 2-player dueling style. I just worry about how much construction you have to do if you're having to do it to any significant degree. That's going to be my biggest personal limitation. Speaking of constructing your game, though, we're talking about nature. I think this has also family weight style hit on a lot of top 10 lists, like a few of the lighter weight games a la Courtesans or something along those lines of the last year or two. And the interesting aspect is, and this is maybe where the divisive thing is, do you include expansions when you talk about your best games? Or is it a caveat? Is it an asterisk in the Hall of Fame Barry Bonds style? And the little rumbling I've heard from North Star's, key game going forward, because they've got Godzook's number of modules planned, is that the modules are really the thing that bring it to life. And I'm not making any of my own personal judgments, but that's intriguing to me as someone who's one of their favorite games is Marvel United, where you can easily make the same argument in a positive way. I don't say this is a negative, throwing shade, right? Marvel United is made by the expansions that add to what I want out of it, right? It would not be anywhere near my top 25 games of all time, even, let alone my top 10, if it didn't have the expansion content in that way. Creating your own ecosystem with a card-based modular system that it is going for. And the game right now already has 5 modules. Rainforest, Tundra, Disasters, Flight, and Jurassic, not including the mini module expansion. But that's a ton of content, and they're going to keep putting out more. So it's one, even if it's not right for you right now, it's one to keep on your radar to see what the evolution, oh, he went there. Their other game is Evolution. It's an adaptation of the mechanics from that previous game of it in the future may look like, because it may win you over later on. Speaking of win you over, you're trying to win over as a game creator. Yeah, we're going deep meta. I talked about this one a couple months ago on the news video roundup. Bezier is coming at us with perhaps the most meta board game that will ever be created in the game makers, because you are literally making board games. No, not made up titles, made up things, actual board games. They reached out to tons of publishers, got permission to put real titles off of everything you've heard of, like Board Game Geek Top 100 Plus, in the game itself, with a central warehouse rondel mechanism, simultaneously choosing components and mechanics to manufacture these with multi-use cards and other multi-use components. If this is not a weight of 3.5 or higher, I'm potentially going to be all in on this crowdfunding campaign, because yes, it's coming to crowdfunding, but supposedly it'll be testable at Gen Con, and that's why it's super intriguing to hear some of the early thoughts on it from that aspect. And it just looks kind of like a cool concept. And it's just a little bit tongue-in-cheek that I'm okay with. The next one I'm going to file under, wow, this could be a gimmick, but you've never seen a gimmick like this. And sometimes gimmick isn't a 4-letter bad word. Gimmick is a kind of cool word. And what we're talking about here is 12 Rivers, which is a reimplementation of the previous 2022 game, 12 Rivers, where instead of rolling warriors, you are rolling pearls as they flow downriver in this kinetic worker placement game. Does that sound weird to you? Yeah, you're freaking actually rolling them down the river and using those when you get down further to pay for everything else. 5 rounds of using your cards to place your tokens in various slots along the rivers to get the pearls that you need. You play them higher up, you get the pearls earlier. However, lower use, you can get them more efficiently later. Oh man, once they're all placed, you go whim wham woom, and just like those rolling marble videos on YouTube, they shoot down and you get a pearl each tribe token you placed and store it. That's the cool part, but is the actual set collection scoring aspect that you do afterwards via the alpaca goals for collecting sets of those pearls going to be the make it or break it? I don't know. I mean, it's worth a look. Is it too gimmicky? Is it going to actually work? Is it going to have the Euro-ness that a lot of people like out of worker placements? We'll see. Then last up, we'll just talk about the Trifecta that is coming from Paverson. Paverson is giving you early thoughts and availability, I think, on Luthier, their latest from the crowdfunding side of things. They're giving you a tease as well about their 2 upcoming ones, Class of 89 and Distilled, the expansion content, more alcohol damaging and destroying your liver. No, sorry, cocktails. And if the base game didn't have enough stuff, this is just going to give you more of different spirits and, alcohol-based drinks that you can make, explore, and combined as a whole. So they are going to be hitting it strong, and I'd be surprised if they're not one of the big winners of the convention just by that strong lineup they've got right there in all 3 of them and their previous pedigree in the first place. So there you go. Those are my ones to watch and have on your radar and maybe pick up in a couple months after Gen Con heat hype and, well, dust settles to see which ones will actually stand the test of time. Because like I said at the beginning, no one, hardly anyone, I should say, because I'm sure there were 1 or 2, pegged Bomb Busters is the one that was going to stay around as long as it has and freaking do as well as it has some last year. So I know. Wait and see. What is it going to be this year? Let me know what you think. Let me know what I missed. Let me know what else I should have my eye on. Thanks for watching. Peace out. Stay classy.